Hey guys, happy Tuesday, Joe of the Joe Madden Sports Podcast here. Joined this morning by Kelsey Nicole Nelson, host of Last Night Tonight. Kelsey, happy Tuesday. How was your Independence Day?
Happy Tuesday. And my Independence Day, my 4th of July, it was fantastic. Very relaxing, very chill. But in DC, as many people know, we do the fireworks big. So it was a lot of fun, lots of relaxation, and just good food and good barbecuing, good grilling. I even got on the grill, Joe. So
What
it was
did you barbecue? What is your July 4th barbecue requirements?
I did a very good ribeye steak, which was delicious. And we had crab cakes, we had teriyaki salmon, very, very good food. So I am still full, still stuffed. Had to break my diet for a little bit, but all for good reason and good cause, Joe.
That sounds absolutely incredible. Did you hang out with friends and family then?
It was so much, and that's what I love about, honestly, 4th of July. Like, you get to see your friends and family, met some new neighbors at my building, met some great new people. Like, this is what I love kind of about that time. It kind of just brings us all together. So all in all, it was a great 4th of July. Unfortunately, in the U.S., we had another mass shooting, Joe. It's terribly sad. It's like just when we finally have a day to like kind of all be together. Just I hope we can just go back to being able to go to events, not being afraid to go to events because we're afraid for something to do something crazy. But just glad that it was safe here in DC. We had lots of people on the National Mall. It was crazy how many people like came out. It's like pre-pandemic crowds came out to DC. But hopefully everybody had a great time. Met a lot of great tourists here, got to show them all what kind of fun things in DC. So all in all, it was great. I love July 4th, one of the best holidays in the best month.
Yeah, you definitely look like you are having an incredible time for July 4th, but it's back to business today, Kelsey. We've got NBA free agency. This year is so exciting. There is so much drama happening right now, so many big moves. What are your overall thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Well, of course, everyone is still talking about Kevin Durant. He continues to hog all of the headlines. We want to know what's going to be next. What is he going to do? There is still a scenario where because he's such a big trade piece, he could end up back at the Brooklyn Nets, which will be very interesting after this storyline and saga and soap opera, Joe, that they've taken us all through. I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are the story that keeps on giving, essentially. But we're hearing, Phoenix is a top destination for him. And you think about the Phoenix Suns last year, and they were a disappointment because many had them going on to the championship game and potentially winning it all because of how strong of a team they were on both sides of the basketball. And then the other team we're hearing that he would really like is the Miami Heat, another great team in the East. Another team with high expectations last year. Obviously, Jimmy Butler continued to carry that team. Bam Adebayo had some good stretches. But, you think about how special he could be there. And let's be honest, Miami's a top trade market for any player, Joe. What player doesn't want to live in Miami?
Oh, who doesn't want to live in Miami? If anyone wants me to come live in Miami, I am in. That's for sure. So I would be there with him. What about Toronto? Do you think we could see the Raptors landing Kevin Durant?
I know y'all in Canada would love it, but honestly, I just don't see it there. It would be, the great thing about Kevin Durant, Joe, is that he could be anywhere. He's KD. He's such a good offensive. What team wouldn't be wanting to sign him up? Believe me, you guys in Toronto probably feel like many of us in the DMV area. Kevin Durant is from Prince George's County. Obviously, the Washington Wizards are the home team. So many people here are trying to figure out somehow, some way, some scenario for Katie to get here, but sorry, folks, it's just not happening. But we got it with Bradley Beal. We saw the big money that Bradley Beal just signed for, and hopefully the Wizards can continue to build a team around him. But Kevin Durant, again, has many of us feeling like this, scratching our heads because there's so many wonderful places that he could potentially land. Many people are talking about what about a reunion with the Golden State Warriors?
Ooh, that would be interesting.
They're just coming off their championship run. I think for the Warriors, they have such a good nucleus of young players. And obviously, what's working for them is working for them. Now, KD coming back, yes, it would be great. It would be glorious. But I like what they have, and I like what they're building. And obviously, they just proved that they could do it without him. But KD, I think he's on the quest for rings. I think nobody could have imagined, what the Brooklyn Nets would go through. We thought they had it all when they had James Harden and Kyrie and KD. And everything seemed to be just a perfect marriage, a perfect fit. And then all of a sudden, we saw just this nasty divorce of things kind of and all their dirty laundry getting aired out for the public. And so now the Nets, they really just have to figure out what is next. You have your star player who, you thought would be the future, 4 years left on his contract. You're thinking he's going to be there. And all of a sudden this happens. On the positive for the Nets, though, that sounds like, they're working with KD to find a potential trade partner. But the thing is, Joe, what do you give up for KD? And that's what teams are asking. We all saw what was given up for Rudy Gobert. And that was a lot. A lot of people asking about, what Minnesota gave up. And, now he's in Minnesota. Another good young team that with him as an addition, hopefully, especially defensively, can be a stronger team. I think that's what's exciting. But Kevin Durant, again, he's obviously the biggest piece right now. And
yeah. Can't wait to see where he'll land. It's going to be really interesting to see if he ends up back with the Nets. This drama will feel kind of like a Tom Brady kind of situation there. What do you think on Bradley Beal? So he signed the 5-year deal, $251 million with the Wizards.
Yes.
Congratulations to him.
And I told everybody, I knew Bradley Beal would be back in Washington. This is his home team. And I think especially once John Wall left this team, he knew that he assumed the role of being the leader for this team. He likes being the guy for this team. And of course, he's hoping Tommy Shepard and the Washington Wizards can build around him in pieces, because the Washington Wizards, unfortunately, the nickname we have for them in Washington, D.C. is perennial losers. That's not a good name for any team.
That is not a good name at all.
The reason why they have that name around a lot of, D.C. natives and locals is because we have to go back to Bullets days to really relive the glory days, or we have to really go back to that Gilbert Arenas era of Washington Wizards. And there's a lot of new Gen Zers that probably don't even know about the Wizards' greatness, at one time. And so for the Wizards, it's kind of like same old, same old. We kind of know how they're going to do in the East. You pretty much, have to go back to 2017, with John Wall, when they were kind of like had that last kind of spark. But 2017, that's been a while now. It's halfway through 2022. We're about to be in 2023. So I think I'm very glad that he's back. Obviously, I know that he loves the city. His family loves the city. His wife and his kids, they adore it here. He's a big supporter of the Washington Mystics and the other sports teams here. But Washington is going to have to put the right pieces around him if it's going to work. Because otherwise, you're just going to have a good player making great money in DC, but getting the same old results. So Wes Unseld Jr., they're going to have to just be really thinking about how this team can get to that next level, because the East, Joe, is only getting better, and we witnessed that last season.
Truest statement there. I can't wait to see what happens with the Wizards over the next couple of days, even here. Now, James Harden, question mark for him. Where do you think he's going to sign? Do you think they'll re-sign him to the 76ers here?
That's what the latest reports are, and I think it's actually good to hear that James Harden, latest reports had that he was in the Hamptons, but not just partying, folks, actually talking with the 76ers organization and management, about what can he help to do? How can he play his role in making this roster stronger? The Philadelphia 76ers is another team. Folks are getting tired of trusting the process, all right? And James came, and we tried to trust that process even more, but, trust can only go so far. And once it's broken, Joe, it's broken, and it's hard to get that back. So we know James is trying to do what he can do to play a part for his contract to be significant enough, but also significant in a way where Philadelphia can get the needed pieces that they need to add to hopefully be a contender. Philadelphia fans are calling for it. James Harden, he was productive, but he's also coming off his pretty much worst playoff run in the last decade for him. And we know how special of a player he can be. We know how great he is. I don't need to name the stats off, but obviously the playoffs was just a disappointment, and it was just not a good look for him. But I think for him, it's really good to see that he most likely will be back with the 76ers. He's had some bad breakups with teams. We know what happened with the Houston Rockets. We didn't want that same thing with the 76ers, because otherwise it just looks like he keeps running, but not running towards what it seems like he likes. Obviously it didn't work with the Nets. So I think the 76ers is the right team for him. Obviously with Joel Embiid, and that team can be really great, but they're just a few pieces short. But hopefully James can go back to just being a star caliber player that they need if Philadelphia is going to make noise this upcoming NBA season.
Yeah, definitely hoping for a better season for him in the next one here. Zach LaVine, we've seen him sign another 5-year deal with the Chicago Bulls. So congratulations to him. Do you think it was the right move for them to keep him?
Oh, the Bulls, I think, they're one of those teams that I think were a surprise team, but a very good team. I think they're obviously just building on what they have. I do like that move for him. They're thinking about the future. And a lot of these young players, Joe, that we're seeing, sign these contract extensions, Zion Williamson, another one, obviously with the New Orleans Pelicans. These teams are forward thinking. Think about how you can get a championship run. The Bulls, I think, are a team, again, a few pieces away. They have some good pieces, but if they want to be great, they're going to need to do a little bit more, but that's a good start. Same thing with the Pelicans. I think Zion, especially, it was good, because I think there was lots of speculation, Joe, about him saying, does he really want to be in New Orleans? New Orleans is obviously one of the smaller market teams in the NBA, even though it's a great city, by the way. Shout out to everyone at Essence Fest. But, Zion what they're building, and then what the Pelicans did last year, Joe. We witnessed it. They were a young team that got so many of us excited, but that was out without Zion. So I think with him back in the fold, Zion back healthy. If you saw his latest shoe release, you see people talking about how ripped he is. And obviously his weight was one of the things that people talked about. Can he keep in shape? Will he be able to keep his physical condition up to play in the NBA? Because obviously you know how taxing on the body playing in the NBA can be. Then the Pelicans really have something special. So I do like Zion staying there. I like the Zach LaVine there. And I really love seeing these guys, John Morant, another one, all of these young guys their teams. The future is bright, Joe, for young stars in the NBA.
The future is so bright. Was there anyone else that you're looking at that you were shocked or excited for where they landed?
Yeah, somebody I'm actually wanting to see where they land is DeAndre Ayton, Joe. I think that's what everyone is like.
He's a big question mark right now.
A huge question mark. Another guy, like, what team wouldn't want him?
Yeah.
You think about what last year, the Phoenix Suns, again, a disappointing run for them. Because, again, so many, Joe, thought they would win it all because, just the regular season, obviously, what they did, breaking the franchise record with wins and just how everything was clicking. Monty Williams, you have the good coach, you got the good team, and all of a sudden, unfortunately, we watched it kind of fall apart and unfold. But he's a guy, you're just saying, you hope they get it right with him. Only 23 years old, obviously can really play. And I think he's really stepped up and continued to improve. So he's the player, Joe, that I think many of us will be watching what happens next with him. And I think the other big question mark, and it was really unfortunate, and I'm sure you saw the news, but Miles Bridges and what unfortunately happened, the pictures that surfaced on social media with his wife and the kids and the abuse that we saw, that kind of put everything to halt for him, Joe. So now I think you're looking at him and you just don't know the future. Obviously, everything kind of has to play out. But that was, I think, a big shocker, obviously, to everyone, because that was going to be a player that a lot of people were also going to be watching. So, and again, just thoughts and prayers go out to her and the family, but definitely going to be watching that. And then right before I come on with you, Joe, TJ Warren, that broke. And I don't know if you saw that news.
No, I didn't. Where did he go?
He is going to Brooklyn. So
no way. Oh, that is a good match made for him.
And Brooklyn needs some good news, all right?
Yep.
Especially the Brooklyn Nets fans. So where's Brooklyn at? Well, right now they've got TJ Warren, and he was one of the people that many people were keeping an eye on because he's somebody, of course, health is going to play a factor. But when you go back to how he played in the bubble, and the bubble seems like so long ago now, but the bubble back in Orlando, he was one of those people that so many of us were going like this because he had a breakout season. So I think him being there obviously shows Brooklyn is trying to do what is needed to finally build it and get it right because last year, it was just last season, I should say, was a series of unfortunate events. But that was one I think a lot of people should keep eyes out for, Joe.
Absolutely. Kelsey, thank you for all of your information on the NBA free agency. What have you got going on this week?
Oh my gosh. So I'm doing so many shows talking about NBA free agency, which is fun for me as someone obviously that loves the NBA, loves covering it. Of course, NBA Summer League starting, and hopefully everyone getting to see that action. For me, I love to see the young guys kind of obviously get their chance because you kind of get a glimpse into, what the future will hopefully be like.
Absolutely.
And so lots of that, of course, WNBA news always going on strong. So everyone, please continue to follow. And again, I'll be doing this all week long. Like everybody else, glued to my phone, Joe, glued to my computer, because there's just so much action happening with NBA free agency. But congrats to all the guys who got their contract extension. Just lots still to be watched, but right now, I think a lot of people are happy kind of with the pieces that are being put in place. And, we're already on the quest, Joe and road to see who will become the next champion. Also keeping an eye on this Russell Westbrook, though, potential talk, and Kyrie talk. Joe,
everything is so interesting going on, Kelsey. You've been off your phone for 15 minutes. I am sure something has probably gone down in the last 15 that you're going to be able to report on for your next show. But thank you so much for joining me. Where can people follow you and find you on social media?
Well, thank you again, Joe, so much for having me. Always a pleasure and joy. I love seeing your bright face. And best wishes to Joe, y'all. She's going to be in a barbecue cook-off soon. I hope I didn't break the news too soon, Joe. I'm so excited for you.
It's going to be awesome. I wish you could come up for it, Kelsey.
I might have to check plane prices, y'all, in Canada, because I want to root for Joe. But everyone can follow me on social media, The Real K Nelson, and check out my website, KelseyNicoleNelson.com, and my podcast website, listening with KNN.com. Thanks so much, Joe. Always so much fun.
Thank you, Kelsey. We will see you back here shortly on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. Absolute pleasure today. You guys make sure you go give her a follow. Thank you.
Bye.